How's it going, everybody? World Money Wins here. Welcome back to my channel. I just got a email from Strategic Wealth Preservation last night, and they went through Hurricane Beryl without a scratch. They've got this brand new vault that they built there in the Cayman Islands, and last Thursday the hurricane passed over it, and it's like, was the wind blowing outside? They couldn't tell because it was their vault is so freaking huge and awesome. But it's worth signing up for their newsletter because they do put out some good articles. And this one, I can't figure out who wrote it. They don't have the author, but it's titled Coming Cash Controls. I'll read a little bit from it. It's got some interesting insight, and it goes as follows. For quite some time, I've been predicting the coming of cash controls in the EU, US, and other countries that are awash in debt, and for all practical purposes, are insolvent. And I'm reading it from him, so, do you think we're insolvent in the United States and Britain and the EU? Let me know if you think that we're solvent. Oh, no, it's all good. So, anyway, it goes on to say, any country that's likely to suffer, oh man, I can't talk. Any country, wow. Slap my face here, wake up. All right, any country is likely to suffer from periodic negative monetary trends, even those whose governments are fiscally responsible. However, in the above jurisdictions, US, EU, and other countries, the problem has gone far beyond that. The problem is systematic, which means that recovery can only come with a collapse and reset of the system, which I always try, and this is my own side note, I always try and think of, we can't go through a crash. There's got to be some other way, or even if it's painful, a painful depression or something like that, but a complete reset just seems so doom and gloomy to me. But anyway, on to the article. Historically, when governments find themselves in this fix, they do the exact opposite of the right thing. That's true. They prolong the existing situation as long as possible, kicking the can down the road, assuring the final collapse will be worse for it. The government in question will print money, raise taxes, impose protective tariffs, and implement capital controls. You think we're printing money, raising taxes, tariffs, and implementing capital controls? I can't think of the specifics, but I remember this being said of just a few months ago. The government was proposing capital controls on certain items. I can't remember what it was, but if you can remember what it was, put it down in the comments below what the capital controls the government was proposing. Anyway, it goes on. All of these measures are harmful to the populace, particularly those who have made the effort to save or store their wealth, however large or small, in cash, precious metals, real estate, etc. The big question for every responsible saver is, what tricks will my government come up with to take my wealth away? And that's kind of my thinking all the time is, how are they going to get my money from me? Because they need it, they have to have it, so they're going to figure out how to extract money from us, even if we don't have it. So we'll see how that goes. Governments today are very sophisticated, and it's getting much harder to safeguard wealth. It's become not only advisable, but nearly essential to internationalize, to remove wealth from those jurisdictions that are on the ropes, squeezing their citizens for all they got. A good general assumption to make is to regard any wealth that is in a troubled jurisdiction as sacrificial, that it's in danger of regulation and or confiscation. The EU, the US, and Canada all now have bail-in laws. They just haven't implemented them yet. So that's something to be concerned about. As these jurisdictions decline, a corresponding flight of capital has been taking place. Wise investors have been moving their wealth offshore, and as increasingly offshore bank deposits have been targeted by these governments. Investors have been moving their cash into harder to confiscate forms of real estate and precious metals. These two situations have proven in the past to be the most secure, and they continue to be. So let's look at precious metals in particular. At one time, some savers held their bullion in ETFs, promissory notes generally issued by banks assuring that the saver could demand his or her bullion or an equal value in cash from the bank whenever he chose to do so. However, it's becoming common knowledge that banks, even the ones in Switzerland, the trusted big banks, they've sold far more bullion than there is existence in the world. One day there will be a run on the ETFs, and those savers will find out they're holding worthless paper. As a result, savers are turning to more and more to physical, held in a vault somewhere. And I know that triggers some people. When I talk about vaults, I mean, some people are just like, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And that's true to a certain extent. I mean, if you got 1 ounce of gold, you're not sending it off to the Cayman Islands. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, not surprising, the wiser consumers are moving their bullion to private storage facilities not connected to any bank. In North America, some of the foremost independent storage facilities are located in Delaware, Toronto, and British Columbia. Personally, I don't do Canada because I don't trust them any more than I trust the US. So I trust Canadians, but not the Canadian government. But again, the US and Canada are putting the squeeze on through capital controls. Therefore, the best storage companies are the ones that offer additional storage facilities offshore. One of America's top facility owners and crisis economic advisors, Eric Sprott, if you're into precious metals, you know who Eric Sprott is. He says, I firmly believe people should have various storage sources. As I do, storing offshore is one of the most prudent decisions that a smart investor can make. You have to have a decent amount of gold to use a storage facility, I guess. Anyway. What else? Like other leaders in the field, Eric offers alternative facilities in Hong Kong, Switzerland, Singapore, and Cayman Islands. I would like to add Singapore to my locations, but it's just kind of a hassle. Of these 4, Switzerland is the most traditional, but in recent years, the other 3 jurisdictions have become more attractive to many investors. Blah, blah, blah. And it's getting a little bit dry in this article. So anyway, what I was going to say is, I mean, if you've got a decent amount of precious metals, you might want to look at doing a vaulting company. There's loan programs, so where you don't, like if you want to buy a piece of property and you've got like 20 ounces of gold in a vault, there are some facilities that offer person-to-person loans where instead of selling 20 ounces of gold and getting stung on that huge capital gains tax bill, you can take out a loan against it and then write off the interest on the loan. So you wouldn't be, like if you got 100 grand worth of gold in a vault, you don't take out a loan for 100 grand, they give you a loan for about 50% of its value, I'm sure. And so if there's ever an issue where like, oh my gosh, I lost my job, I lost all my revenue streams, I can't make money, I'm going to default on my loan. Well, you can sell half the holdings and then pay off the loan and just take the big, huge capital gains tax hit, so that you're not at risk of losing it all. You know what I mean? Anyway, I guess that's about it. I just want to bring that up. That it's good that they SWP survived the Cayman hurricane, or the Hurricane Beryl. That was awesome, and I'm glad their new vault went swimmingly. And I'm hoping to head over there to the Cayman Islands and hopefully take an electric skateboard with me and show you around the islands a bit and do an audit of my holdings at SWP Cayman Islands, so you can see what it looks like. They said I can't take a camera in there, but I could take my phone in there. It's like basically you go into a room and it's like going into a safe deposit box, which I guess I could just do a fake video in a safe deposit box, say, yeah, I'm here in the Cayman Islands, but that would be kind of cheesy. But I'll show you some video from outside the vault whenever I go. I'm just waiting on the last bit because they removed tariffs on importation of gold at Cayman because they hired some advisors. They messed up their whole tax system for a bit. They're getting it straightened out. So there's no 4% tax on gold coins when you import them to Cayman. There is tax on bars, but they're going to remove that too because the whole thing was just a big old mistake. by somebody that wasn't into precious metals or understood why people store in Cayman. Anyway, that was a long-winded video. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing great. I'm riding my skateboard every day. I'm going to put out a YouTube short on it. Anyway, I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Secure your wealth any way you want. But if you don't hold it, you don't own it.